in touch with us on our various social media platforms, especially YouTube, you will discover that the quality and caliber of our lecturers keeps improving with each edition. And today we have yet another distinguished individual who will be giving us an informative, educative, and insightful lecture. But before we begin, I'd like to recognize once again the presence of the CEO of the RMRDC, Professor Nanyulu Ikimonso. Welcome and thank you for being here with us. A round of applause for our I recognize also all my distinguished directors here present. Thank you so much, sir, ma'am, every one of you for being here. It is always a pleasure to have you in our midst because of the special flavor you add to the series. I recognize all deputy directors here present, all assistant directors here present, my colleagues from different departments of the RMRDC. Thank you for being here. And on this note, ladies and gentlemen, I also recognize our guest lecturer, whom I will recognize much better and properly a bit later into the program. But to honor Nigeria, for whom this lecture series is actually happening, I want us to stand up and begin with the first stanza of the national anthem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. As always, I'd like to listen. As always, I'd like to recognize the presence of all our directors from the various departments of the RMRDC who have made out this time and also ensured that members of staff from the various departments are here today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all our directors from the various departments of the RMRDC for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, our DG is one gentleman leader who wants the very best for his staff. That is the reason why the lecture series keeps holding each time we have it in the RMRDC. And today it's no different. But before we kick off formally, I would like to invite the DG CEO RMRDC, Professor Nanyelubu Ikemonso, to share with us a few words as his welcome remarks. A round of applause for the DG CEO as we listen to his welcome remarks. The floor is yours, sir.
Good morning, our guest lecturer, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi. I just want to say this for you because you're not aware of this tradition. Each time we do this, we have this lecture. These people set me up. They want me to do remarks. I don't know how many remarks I will do, but today is a different day, really, because the turnout is better. So, and I want us to give us a big round of applause. In our midst is a very, very, very important personality. Maybe you guys don't know. For those who read the Bible, there's a place. I don't read well. Oh, mistake, forgive me. They say that there's somebody is not able to stoop and untie the rope of a sandal or so. So I am not going to be the one to read our guest lecturer citation. You will hear it by yourself. But you should know that the lecture series team is doing a big job. For them to go to the ocean and drag this man to here, that means they have done a fantastic job. Please, can you guys approach him? So, sir, you are welcome. This is us. You have seen us. Our people are also going to engage you. They're very tough people too. So maybe when they start pushing you, don't be surprised. We have people who have done this job for 30 years, big experts here, and people who also want to learn. We learn here every 2 weeks, and we look for the very best to learn. So on that note, I will encourage all of us to pay attention, listen very carefully. It is not easy to have, it is not all the time that you have
He is a man that fosters collaboration. And one of his philosophies is a win-win situation. And at this point, he's excited to have this because after now, there'll be a whole lot of collaboration because the institution that this man is driving on has the wings wherein Raw Material Research and Development Council will be able to attain its mandate. Now, the Shattered Institute of Logistics and Transport was originally founded in the United Kingdom in 1919 and granted a royal charter in 1926, establishing it as the leading international professional body for all sectors of transport and logistics. Its mission has always been to advance knowledge, set professional standards, and provide authoritative guidance to government, industry, and society. The Nigerian chapter traces its roots back to 1958 when the institute formally established a presence in the country. Since then, it has grown into one of the foremost national branches internationally, serving professionals across road, rail, marine, aviation, and supply chain sector. Over the decades, they've been able to achieve expanded membership nationwide with about 10,000 membership. Precisely on their database, they have about 9,500 membership. They have been able to provide education and training, influence policy and practice, created special interest groups, and also foster trade across borders. They maintain global linkages. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a brief about this institute. And then, foremostly, when there were crises in Nigeria roads in 2014, and that was the time that Dr. Boboy Oyemere was saddled with the responsibility as the Corps Marshal and Chief Executive of the Federal Road Safety Corps. At that time, we as a community were privileged to engage with him, and that's why over the years, the issues of commuters, road users, having threats in terms of bomb blast and that was averted. His effort tailored towards security intelligence and collaboration with our group then and other groups within Abuja and also other bodies nationally, and that brought successes and also the safety we have on our roads today. Ladies and gentlemen, please with a louder applause for this very great man. He's not just a member of the Order of the Federal Republic, he's also an officer of the Order of Republic. Shall we invite him to this point as we have his citation? You're welcome, sir. Okay, sir, can you rise as we take the citation, please? All right, the citation. Thank you.
Dr. Boboy Oyemere, OFR, NPOM, SCILT, FCIPM, FNIN, is a distinguished public administrator, transportation and road safety strategist, and human resource developer whose career spans over 4 decades in engineering, public policy, governance reforms, and national safety transformation. Dr. Oyeyemi's career began in broadcast and communications engineering with the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, before transitioning into public service. He is best known for his tenure as former Marshal and Chief Executive of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, where he spearheaded groundbreaking reforms in road traffic management, emergency response systems, digitalization of driver licensing, and national transport governance. His leadership transformed FRSC into a globally recognized model for road safety administration. He holds a diploma in transportation management from the University of Lagos, a Master of Public Administration from the University of Lagos, and a PhD Public Administration Transport Administration from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. His executive education includes Harvard Kennedy School of Government, USA, National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, Nigeria, MNI, and the Royal Institute of Public Administration, UK. A holder of multiple international certifications in transport safety and emergency management, numerous national and international recognition, a fellow of several professional bodies including the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, FCILT, the Chartered Institute of Corporate Administration, FCIA, and the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, FCIPM. Dr. Oyeyemi is also a member of several professional bodies including the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, Institute of Transportation Engineers, ITE USA, and the International Road Federation, IRF. Dr. Oyeyemi is the author of 5 major books and over 80 scholarly papers on road safety, transport governance, public administration, crash analysis, emergency response, and driver licensing systems. His works continue to shape policy and practice in Nigeria and beyond. Fluent in English and Yoruba, his mother tongue, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi is currently the President and Chairman of Council of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, CILT Nigeria, where he leads strategic initiatives to strengthen professional standards, advance logistics and transport excellence, and foster national development through sustainable supply chains. Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi embodies excellence, leadership, and innovation in logistics, transport, and public administration. His expertise and vision make him a valuable partner in advancing Nigeria's industrialization agenda through supply chain optimization. With a round of applause, please welcome our guest lecturer.
Materials Research Development Council, and all the staff of the institute. Good morning. When I was landing here, I was telling the lady that accompanied Professor John to Pippin. I don't know what he used to drag me to this place. And that people may need to consult him so that design to implement to get back to the rural areas. The issue of logistics happens to be one of the major problems today. So in the course we go through, I will speak to the slides, and within the next 45 minutes it should be done. And it's 91, but I'm a very fast speaker. I will just mention, and we release the material which the organizing committee can share and put in the library and the website of the institute. Once again, it's a big appreciation to really get me down here to come and make this presentation. I had to step down other programs. So Professor John, you have done well. You have a plus, but it will not work all the time. Because I told him if you had gone to the mountain to pray for God to touch my heart, next time, by the time you are speaking to me, I may be in London or I may be in Australia. So unless we do Zoom, but well done and nice back in home. So I'm speaking on optimizing logistics and transport systems for sustainable raw material supply chains in Nigeria. This is a strategic assessment of transport systems to drive industrialization and sustainable economic diversification. One thing the RN Raw Materials Research and Development Council must know is that the transportation system in Nigeria is in crisis. And you agree with me. First, let me talk about Nigeria. We have a population of 240 million Nigerians. We have 204,000 kilometers of road network. We have a vehicular population of 16 million vehicles, and we have driver's licenses. Drivers who are licensed about 12 million, and that is one where the problem lies. It's not supposed to be so. We are supposed to have more drivers than the vehicles, so that means there's a gap. Let me give you a case study. California has 33 million vehicles and about 38 drivers. That is a good example. But in a case where in Nigeria you have 60 million vehicles and 12 million drivers, you can see the disparity. And when you have 204,000 kilometers of road network in Nigeria, out of which the large portion, the 50%, are federal roads, then about 50% are state roads, and the remaining are local government. These are feeder roads. Then, when you are, we must first commend the efforts of the current administration, but apart from Lagos Ibadan, that is 107 kilometers, there is no road network again in Nigeria that you can drive without any challenge on the road. Only Lagos Ibadan has a good road network in terms of not best, but good practices, because the road markings and road signs are not fully there. So that when you are talking about the issue of raw materials getting to the manufacturers, the challenges, the institute has a good role to play. And when you are looking at the road network in Nigeria, and you are looking at the multimodal transportation system in Nigeria, the pressure is so much on the road. 90% of our mobility is on the road. The government is just revitalizing the rail system. The rail system is supposed to be carrying all the cargoes. And that when you are transporting fuel now from Port Harcourt, from Lagos to Sokoto, then the pressure is on the road. That's why our roads are collapsing. And the integrity of constructing the road is not so much there. It is a problem. And that is one of the challenges. And the state government, again, they are not so committed. And you look at it, the road network, even the urban roads in the state, are nothing to write home about. The question is this: when the previous administration was around, the general President Buhari, they were sharing 300 to 400 billion every month. Now they're sharing 2.2 trillion. But where has this gone to? The revenue coming into the states now is not translating into economic growth and development. It's not. You see all the road networks, even in urban areas, nothing is working. So what we want to talk about? So the pressures on the road and the air transportation, how many people can afford it? How many people? When I came on board then in 2014 as commercial, business ticket was 45,000. Today now business ticket is over 300,000. So a return trip Lagos Ibadan now will give you, you'll be spending about 700,000 for ticket, whereas 2014, just 12 years ago, it was just 90,000 business. Economy then was 27,000. Even promo, that's 6,000. You buy it and you use it, non-refundable. But see how we have gone today. When I finished at the National Institute in 2011 December, I was to go for my conference in January in the US. Then the ticket, BA ticket to Washington return through London was 750,000 naira. The last trip I went to, this Dr. John was tracking me and was harassing me from Washington and Toronto. I paid 11.7. So you can see the challenges because the multimodal transportation system has failed and it's not working in Nigeria. If our road networks are good, people will go by road because people have good, some have good cars, they enjoy driving. But again now, to drive from here to Lagos, we need to read Psalm 23. Then we need to pray well so that the bandits, your vehicle, don't break down. The rail that's supposed to have provided the alternate mode is not working well. It's not covering the network. You will see what I'm trying to say. When the colonial masters did the tracks then, is to suit their own purpose. As they left, little attention has been given to this. So when it comes to transportation, and you're talking about the authority, you must put the record straight that there are challenges, a serious challenge in the country, and the government needs to drive the reforms. No matter the level of research being done by the council, if the logistics and transportation mode is not reliable, it's a nullity. That's the summary of my presentation. So we go back now to the beginning, to the second slide, the history of raw material transportation and logistics in Nigeria. And this evolved from the indigenous trans-Arab trades to the colonial rail and port system designed for extraction. And all these things that are being done was to suit the location of where they were getting these materials to the ports or to the location. It wasn't designed to cover the network. That is why you pick the rail system like that from Lagos. It passes through the track down to Karanamoda in the northwest, then Gashra in the northeast to Meduguri. Then it comes down like that. There's no interconnectivity in the middle. Then you are going to just first get to Kaduna before you come down to Jos, then through Bauchi to Meduguri. It's to suit them then, but the only thing that needs to be done now is the linkages to the state. You cannot wake up now that you want to go to Lagos from Abuja by rail. It's not possible. You can only go to Warri by rail when you get to Itape. Before take transport from here to Itape, from Itape, then you now get to Warri. So these are the problems. The only one now is Abuja Kaduna. Full stop. Then Ibadan. Lagos, Ibadan. Full stop. So we need a lot because if there are alternates to this, your work will be much easier. The raw materials, when you do research and you get this, then it gets to the manufacturers, the users to improve on this. But when it perishes before it gets there due to the failure of the multimodal transportation system, then we're in crisis along that line. Then you continue to look at the pre-colonial, the indigenous logistics systems, then when they were using animals to transport. Because we almost, when it comes to this kind of thing, we must go back to the professors there, we agree, must go back to the historical perspectives. And you must interrogate the subject. You just don't go direct. You must interrogate, and they must get it done appropriately. I'm not a professor, but the professors knows what I'm talking about. On a relaxed mode, when I was planning my retirement, that's what I said I would go and teach. I would be a lecturer to impact knowledge. When I asked one of the professors how much was salary, he said 463,000. I said, me, 463,000. Possible. That's how I dropped it. You know, I would have, by now would have become, because I was writing books then. I already have publications at international journals, and he said must be 10. I already got it to 6. So when he said 463, so I've become a professor, I'll be earning 463. I don't have time for anything. Bye bye. That was how I stopped. So, but I will continue like this, imparting knowledge. Then on the traditional transport, relied on human porters and pack animals, donkeys, horses, and camels. And in waterways, in the southern regions, it was inland waterways. That was what was going on then. Beginning in the 19th century, the British colonial administration developed the modern transport infrastructure. That was the beginning of the rail system. And like I said earlier on, if you look at the way this thing was done, it was designed from where they can get the materials, the agricultural produce from the interior down to the port for them to export. So that was what was happening. That was why you had the linkage from Lagos to Zaria to Kano. Then from Kano, also Ibiaro, then you have it up to Guzau, then to Karanamoda. So those are the things we're experiencing there. Then the strategic hubs, like I said, rail lines were specifically routed to raw material sources. Enugu coal mines, John Tim mines, and the Kaduna granite pyramids. After all this, there was no expansion. I was reading a book written by Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory, and he said he met Allied Ambassador Maitama Sule in the train in 1955 when he was campaigning in the train going to Kano. He met him in the train and discovered they shared the same ideology. I was reading around 2 a.m. during this area when I led the team for the patrol operations, and I was close to tears that if in 1955 somebody could campaign in the train and met those people he was sharing ideologies with, and in 1998, 1978, then the rail system has collapsed. It's not growing because the Indians came and messed us up. Everybody came, the concession, they messed up. They were removing all the major tools and exporting them to their own country. I said then we have set ourselves back hundreds of years. So you can see that is what we're happening now. There's no expansion. The government is just making concerted efforts now. Then on port development, because when they move this material from this location, it gets to the ports. And as at that time, you can only talk about outlets of Port Harcourt, which was opened in 1913, and also Apapa ports. Those are still the most relevant ones we can talk about now, except the ones that are just being done recently. Then the roads became the feeder because of this. And that was why you have more road expansions. Then you look at the post-independence of 1960 to the present day, you now see the, like I mentioned, the decline of the rail system. It wasn't growing. Today, United Kingdom, at the peak period, they move passengers of average of 3 million per hour. For those of you who are familiar with UK, 3 million per hour. That's what they do. They move people at the peak period. And United Kingdom has the best multimodal transportation system linkage from here to water to road to rail. When you get to Heathrow, you go down, you take train. Anywhere you are going, you get down from the international flight, you can take flight to Manchester, to Birmingham, to any other part. They have the best multimodal transport. I'm sure my DG, you are familiar with UK because you take Uber, you pay times 3. You take rail train, you just pay less than £10. So you see Nigerians with their big money in. When they get to London, we all carry our boxes, roll it, and we go and board train. We start looking at each other. But when we get home from the door of the aircraft, big manism has started. Short of carrying them, their leg was not touch the ground. What a life! The government has invested heavily in multimodal transportation system. I'm carrying out a study now, assessing the multimodal transportation system per state. Only Lagos can talk about having 75% effectiveness of multimodal. Only Lagos. Only Lagos. Only Lagos. It's not full. In Lagos airport, there's no link, no train link, no linkage. Only Lagos, when you're talking about multimodal, that other modes of transportation that can be used, is only Lagos. Abuja, that could have given a good example of at least three modal systems. From the central business district, train service was connected to the airport. No access road at every train station. So of what use? You see, our plannings are fraught with what I call an extrinsic disorders. I'm talking to intellectuals here. You constructed from the central business district, there are various train stations, no access roads, and you want people to utilize it. So they should stop and enter the bush to be kidnapped or to be injured. No, let's be frank to ourselves. What happens to the design? Why was the access road not factored in implementing to the construction? That is a problem. That is why the urban system cannot work. When I met Wesho Inka last year, when I was chatting with him, he said, oh, yeah, they name a train station after me. But there's no Shomo, Kosi access road. So how would people use the train station named after me? Can you see our problem? So you can see the multimodal transportation system is in crisis in Nigeria. Because this one will do its own design without factoring other modes of transportation for effectiveness. That's why the pressure is heavy. Those staying in Yanya can rack this now. They wake up, if they want to be efficient at work, they will leave at 5, still get to work at after 8 or 9. Those staying at Airport Road too, they will leave at 6. But whereas it's not supposed to be so. If the rail system then has been done from Abaji to Kefi, you will not spend more than 20 minutes to get to central business and walk to your office. It's a crisis. And I will not blame the colonial masters, but all this, our national development plans, 1960 to 1960, started with 3 years, 60 to 63 before you have the 5-year plans, all these rolling plans. You will have factor continuous development and expansion. But it was not done. It wasn't done. That is why where we are today and where is the fund to do all this? But the government must go back for this council to be efficient when all these researches are done to now get the farmers and the council to get those materials to the right place in a minimal cost. That is what we are talking about now. So it's a crisis that we still have to look at. Because the logistics sector currently faces an estimated 8 billion annual loss due to inefficiencies. Then we commend the government for the infrastructure for rail revival, but more needs to be done. There must be rail linkages between Enugu to Owerri to Umuahia to Port Harcourt. There must be linkages from Lagos from Ibadan to Osogbo to Akure. From Akure, you get to Benin straight. It's expensive, but it's a long-term project. And if the citizens see that the government is improving on infrastructure, citizens will be ready to pay more taxes. The VAT in UK is more than that of Nigeria because the citizens are saying that the government is using the money for infrastructural development and maintenance. If you go to London by 10 p.m. every night, you will see they're maintaining the roads, they're painting the roads, they're doing this, they're fixing the traffic lights. But in Nigeria, many traffic lights are working in Abuja now. Even the ones that are working where the lawlessness has taken over in respect of that. Then our ports too, then it's only the Lekki deep sea ports that all those heavy ships can berth. They can't berth again because the dredges have failed. It's not being properly maintained. And that one was strategically done because of the refinery. Because to move some equipment, to bring in some equipment, you need a deep sea port. So you can see where our problem lies. We are good at planning, but when it comes to implementation, it is a problem. And Nigeria, give it to Nigeria, we have abundant natural wealth. We have it. We have vast in raw materials. We have everything. agricultural products, solid minerals, energy resources, which we are not utilizing all this well. And these are the things that support food, textile, and pharma. That's pharmacology, petrochemicals and steel foundations, automotive manufacturing growth. Then this contributes to 13% of our GDP, and that's an significant value addition. And the total logistics market value is estimated at about 73 billion US dollars in 2024. And this highlights a massive opportunity for optimization and growth. Then the logistics bottleneck, examining the transport inefficiencies that undermine sustainable supplies. We look at the road infrastructure, which I've been talking about. When I went for a conference in Abidjan, I was given like a big man from Nigeria, the most populous nation in Africa. Then I sat beside a South African. Then they asked me, because I was an instructor for the World Bank then they asked me to make presentation. All those grammars I first mentioned, Nigeria, 200, at that time it was 193 million Nigerians. Then I mentioned 193 million Nigerians, 204,000 kilometer road network, grammar like this. When the South African man would speak, the South Africa is just a small portion of Nigeria. He said, this is Republic of South Africa RSA. We have 700,000 kilometers of road network all paved. My tail was in between my legs. Because I've already said we have 204 federal roads, state roads, and local federal roads account for 50, and only 20% are good. The man said RSA 700,000 kilometers all paved. My tail was in between my legs. So when they asked me, the World Bank took me to Durban in South Africa. I requested for the vehicle to take me out at night. I purposely went out. All the roads, the road markings, the road signs were all reflective at night. They don't have it. It's in the budget, but when they said I finished the road on paper, go to Paris, but physical, Kosimbe. I must commend BRF Fashola when he was minister. That was when he listened to FRS then. Because we have a plant that produces road signs. So when they give contractors contract, the last paragraph, your road signs must be procured from Federal Road Safety Corps. May God bless Fashola. Immediately he left, go to Paris. That is what I'm talking about, policy somersaults, lack of continuity. When I was at the National Institute, I posited, they called me apostle of continuity. I said, without continuity, this nation cannot grow. I don't need to like DG's face. It's my friend. But I should take over from him and continue from where I started. But in Nigeria, I'm the Messiah. You say, that person, no law, Komo, doesn't know anything. I'm the one that knows. But by the time he's leaving, he has done worse than the That's why we are not growing. Even look at the problem in the US today, but yet they are moving. If you remember some crisis in Italy, when they were changing the president like clothes, it never affected the economy. You must isolate economy from governance. Go and check why they are growing. All the trouble is going, okay, look at it. Their generals are 75. General Abukunle is still active. What is still active at them? Why must he retire now? Abroad in US, I asked my colleague when I retired, they hosted me. And I said, Chris, are you not retiring? He said, the boy, it's when your legs cannot carry you again. But every January you must go for comprehensive check and they will send a report to your employer. Once they say you are fit, life goes on. But once they say Komawa, go to Parini. It is when you are old that you have those wealth of experience that you can contribute to nation building. So those are the things that Nigeria must, now that they have increased the retirement age for teachers, fine. They must also start looking at how they can start from the knowledge of civil servants in public service with those ideas. You send people for courses 1 year after you retire them. What's going to use it for? Down the drain. So those are the things we must start looking at. Then what this country is facing is that on road infrastructure, 70% of these materials depends on road. Then you leave the rural areas, you enter the potholes, the vehicle breaks down. The steering rack or the ball joint, it will take 1 week. Those materials rotting away. Where do we go? You can't be happy. This council cannot be happy. Yes or no? Am I right or wrong? Without good road network, your results cannot be seen. So that means this council needs to partner with Ministry of Works, Railway Corporation, then the inland waterways to ensure that all these modes of transportation are improved upon for those materials to get to the destination. On rail capacity is still underutilized. If our rail system is very efficient, imagine this council is supposed to be self-funding. But the reverse case. Then at the port, for export, to get to the port, you now carry this product to the port, the customs, all these ports, quarantine, all these people, they will frustrate you. By the time you export, put it back there, it spoils. That's why they ban Nigerian products in some countries. It's a serious problem. So when you look at the freight movement by road, 70% road, other modes 25 rail freight, rail is supposed to play a major role in this. But so what I'm saying is that the government, we appreciate what the government is doing, but there is need for more investment in rail administration to expand linkages to the various state capitals in the first instance. And as they are linking the state capitals, all those small towns and cities along the way will benefit from it. Then again, you look at the cost of escalating of logistics in respect of this, the transport bottlenecks and security concerns along these corridors. It translates to higher costs because when you leave the rural areas, you are coming, all the checkpoints are paying, somebody will transfer it to somewhere. So that's why the prices are going up, like I told you about what I've experienced. Now, the objectives, we assess, evaluate the current logistics, we optimize, propose strategies, and we align to ensure reform supports the RMNC mandates. We look at the matrix, the agricultural products, perishable and security, high post-harvest loss. The solution is to have a cold chain integration. So when they're moving those materials, that is one area the council must also carry out research, the kind of cold chain that can be used so that even if the vehicle breaks down, it will be sustained to get to the destination. Then on solid minerals, the bulk movement capacity, the high transport costs, the solution, make the rail to be more effective for the optimal. Then on energy resources, the pipeline security, the supply chain disruption, the solution, sustainable infrastructure. They vandalize all these things. We are the ones paying. So what we need is pipeline improvement in respect of this. Then Dangote just procure 4,000 tankers to be delivering to different parts of the country. Who paid the price? All of us sitting here. Because we had it to the cost of production. Then we pay through our nose. That's why you wake up today, the price have gone up. Tomorrow, the price have gone up. If you go and calculate the matrix, don't calculate it, you are still paying the same. When you add the prices reduced and the new one, divide it, you will see where you are paying the same thing. So you are still paying through your nose. Then you see the pathways to optimization, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, you expand the rail freight. Then the digitization of the track and trace. That is tracking and sustainability. That's adopting green logistics. That's one of the things like DHL is doing, green logistics. That is bringing in the gas, electric vehicles. That's the only way, the solution to this. Then the issue of AFTA. When this AFTA, that is the African Free Trade Zone areas, came into being, the issue then was Nigeria did not key into this. Why? There were schools of thought about the various problems. At the end of the day, by the time Nigeria became a signatory, Kenya has gone far, South Africa has gone far. But all hope is not lost if we can use our own strength and derive it. That's why Kenya economy is doing well in respect of this. This will be after that will reduce the supply chain costs and improve industrial competitiveness. In those days, if you remember the issue of rubber plantation, palm oil plantation, all these things, Malaysia came here to take our seats. Today, we now go back again to Malaysia to see what they are doing. Is that not stupidity for us as a nation? Then we look at the issue of logistics and transport, the global best practices. I'm happy the DG initiated this, is to expose the management and staff to the best practices. So we look at the best, I will just mention two or three countries. The issue of green logistics, I've mentioned that, then digitization, and the latest in the global is the issue of AI. A lot of people are losing their job in developed countries now with the AI. By the time it gets to Nigeria, how prepared are we with the advent of AI in Nigeria today? Who is driving it? I don't know, DG, whether you have brought a resource to come and talk about the AI and your work.
Yes, of course, we know this. It's not only one program we have to personally looking at this, but if we know anybody who wants to support us, we're going to appreciate.
Okay.
We're looking for experts. We're looking for people to help us.
Okay. I will still come back, we'll sit down over a cup of coffee and discuss. I will come with my tea. That's why I came with Gerard Dikule. I will come with my tea. He's an expert in that area. So, then like I mentioned from the word go, this is materials. But in the real sense of Nigeria, where you're looking at the mobility, 90% is on the road. But for materials, it's 70%. So they're not the same thing. I'm still saying the same thing. So when you look at the modal transportation system, 90% is road. But when it comes to material, it's 70% because some still goes through rail and inland waterways. So that is why you must get it. Then we have the fragmental digitization, that is the ICT. ICT must come in, then sustainable vacuum. Those are the things. Then the issue of our South Africa study, we have the issue of the green supply chain operation reference. This one is the issue of the carbon footprint in supply chains. South Africa has gone ahead so much, and these are key lessons for Nigeria in the structured frameworks and carbon accounting for carbon accounting must guide sustainable logistics. Everything you are talking about is reduction of carbon. So, but in Nigeria, we need to sustain our regulations. Then in the case of Brazil, I'm just summarizing them since we're getting this material. The Brazil streams pass soya beans and sugar exports. We still go to Brazil. The president just came back recently from Brazil where a lot of agreements are signed. Nigeria and Brazil were growing together then, but Brazil has overtaken us. So because despite all these hurdles, the emphasis on regional hubs and advanced analytics, it offers a template for us now to grow on agro raw material supply. This one area, that raw materials is to study Brazil processes as it relates to raw materials. This is one area they need to look at. Then in case of Indonesia faced logistics costs, which is 24% of their GDP, and they responded with 6 local, that's their own local need, to solve this problem. The key lesson for Nigeria is a fragmented system requires a unified government-led maritime and national logistics blueprint. Then the matrix of all what I've said on the South Africa, you can see the critical gap for Nigeria there. No active carbon accounting. In Brazil, our own gap over reliance on road transport. On Indonesia, the issue we're having here is fragmented ICT system. And when you look at the issue of AI, which I just mentioned now, there is poor institutional coordination for the future in respect of this. Nigerian policy landscape, we have trying to really move fast now because I keep to my time. We aim for multimodal integration, the road and rail water. That is the only thing the land transport policy address because aviation is on its standalone. But again, in developed countries, when you talk about Department of Transport, it's all encompassing. You get to UK, Department of Transport, everything is all encompassing. You have the Deputy Secretary Road, Deputy Secretary Rail, Deputy Secretary Aviation, and Maritime, stroke inland water. The same thing in US, but in Nigeria, everything, blue and marine economy, road, transport, air transportation. So that is why it causes conflicts. Now look at the the council's mandate. Excellent focus on local sourcing, but lacks a robust logistics optimization framework. That is the major problem today as it relates to the council. Lacks a robust logistics optimization, which is beyond the control of the council. Am I right or not? You do research, you go to the rural areas to get it, but the logistics to bring them down is a problem in respect of this. Then the logistics cost as per the percentage of the GDP is what is shown on the slide there, which I've mentioned. Then the strategic roadmap optimization, we need to establish a national logistics platform. We adopt carbon accounting framework like it's done in South Africa. Then align all transport reforms with the policy document of APTA and the competitive goals in alignment with the council's mandate. Nigeria's logistics and transport system are policy rich for practice poor. The CILT stands by this statement. Comprehensive findings on Nigeria's transport infrastructure and supply chain. This is the assessment of the current state of road, rail, ports, and waterways. For material, 70% is road reliance, poor conditions of road, underutilized rail. You can account for only 5%. This is where, and those trucks too, they have expired. They're over 30 years. That's why they are not on match when they're moving. That's why they fall frequently. So it takes almost 5, 6, 7 days now to move goods from Lagos to Sokoto and with the frequent breakdowns because those trucks are not fit to be on the road. I know the battles we made with NATO then and Amata then. I fought them to stand still and they attempted to blackmail, but I won. But again, I propose government should give them soft loan. There should be transport ban. But if that has been done, we'll have improved. We have been able to move those vehicles off the road. But I was asked to apply brake then. We moved them off to convey becomes a problem. Then the government must also improve on inland waterways. They must dredge. The kind of dredging we do is not, they dredge, they don't complete it. And the next year, the following year, because of the rain, those sands are back there. Then investment deficits is another problem. This is just the cost in percentage. Then average port dwell times. You want to export something, or you are bringing in something, you spend 20 days. So you want to export. It's a problem. So as an exporter, you get discouraged. The whole thing is destroyed there. So, and then your money is tied down. Then environment and resource too. Most of our products are seasonal. Now mango is coming up again now. Mango is coming up. You will see waste all over when you are traveling. You just see them red. Everything red, wasting. Then our storage system is in crisis. Then emission control is another problem. Then the digital gap is lacking there. Then this is the matrix of what I've just said now. We need to improve on our supply chain. We need zero-time visibility with the digital integration and the insecurity, higher insurance, and risk premiums on this. Optimization strategies for Nigeria. There is a comprehensive blueprint for raw materials, supply chain. This applies to the council itself. And you look at the strategy pillars, the 6 optimizations. We look at the issue of to prioritize rail and waterways, improve on the Lagos-Kano corridor, Niger-Benue rivers. This will bring about cost efficiency that the rail freight is 30% cheaper then the safety is there, then the sustainability will be 25% lower. This what you are seeing here is a pictorial view of how River Benue is supposed to be. But it's not from any country. This is the impression, assuming we are talking about industrialization. You have the rail like that, you have the road, you have the port to be effective. But we pray we can do this in our lifetime. The number two is that digitization and ICT will deploy real-time tracking. This will give us 20 to 25% delivery reliability improvement, reduction in holding costs, and decrease in fraud and leakages. The third one is green logistics, which I've been talking about, to transit from to low emission vehicles. That is CNG, gas, that's gas, then electric vehicles, EV. We are coming up gradually, but they need a lot of charging stations. You cannot have electric vehicles that are no charging station and filling station. You just have it then you're on the road. That is why in UK and US, which are much familiar, that dwarf both electric and petrol, both gas and petrol. So you make sure that you have half tank of PMS. So if the gas finish, you switch. Then if it's electric, if the battery runs down, it will flash, you just change. But here, some of the vehicles are just electric. So you see police somersault again. People will not be encouraged. Problem new. And OPEC and Co, they just folded their arms and they are smiling that for the next generation, they will still be in the lead. Go and read. They will remain relevant because an attempt to reduce their production is going up because you can't run away. During winter now, see what is happening. So, fourth policy and alignment, institutional synergy, education efficiency, and after growth. Nigeria must really kill into this. On capacity building, the issue of digitization, ICT knowledge, is not a favor again. Even when I finish, I will plead for just 10 minutes to talk to you about post-retirement. Because a lot of people did not plan when they retired and they're in trouble later. Oreri is not smiling. So the issue of everything you do now has to go with ICT. So we must, my DG, you must upgrade your management to be IT compliant for their tomorrow. So that when they wake up tomorrow, when they're no longer in the system, they will have something. Without IT today, tomorrow you can't do anything. You can't do. Excuse me, please. So I'm moving fast. Then PPP, public-private partnerships. Then there's the benefits and the cost reduction potential of those 6 pillars. And the full implementation will position Nigeria. Nigeria is supposed to be the lead in NAFTA in respect of this. I'll be talking about this. The only solution has to do with multimodal transport optimization. Revolutionary Nigeria's raw material supply chain. This is where the council really comes in on a more serious note. That is what we call the strategic integration roadmap. And the Nigerian logistics challenges is there, the 95% road reliance, high distribution costs, and the losses. Then industrial impact, the economic fix, and key sectors. Then on the economic transformation, the cost efficiency, they reduce delays and losses, the multimodal systems eliminate bottlenecks, which I've explained already. There is no point repeating what I've said. Then that will also lead to improved market access and the resilience and flexibility. On the policy growth, the RMRDC alignment supports industrialization by ensuring a steady input supply. That is your mandate. And integrate with government investment in rail and port modernization. It's not only carrying out research on all this, it's also to see how the port system and rail can improve to ensure this thing gets to the destination without incurring losses. And this will position Nigeria to fully harness the after. Then the most strengths and weaknesses are the matrix. Because when you are doing this, for example, if you look at the issue of the air transportation, there's not much problem. That won't go Then the inland ports redredge. Then the issue of rail improvement so that you can get there in time. And the factory and retail distribution for road, those are the kind of things we are looking at. And critical risks to mitigate the infra gaps, the quality, and the security. Then it still boils down to the issue of the ports and port modernization. There must be continuous improvement and linkage of all the ports to the rail system. There must be linkage. In those days, Apapa Port, we carry all those wagons, everything, about 200 at night, and you get to their destination. Today, all those links are no longer efficient there. The raw materials, Nigeria's raw material supply chain cannot be optimized through a seamless multimodal system. You can't run away from this by road, by rail, by air, and waterways. Then the logistics optimization in critical sectors. This is strategy roadmap for Nigeria's industrial resilience. That's the farmer supply chain. That's pharmacology. The issue of pharmacies. The solution is the air transport strategies. And we go to farmer logistics challenges. The goal in Nigeria today is the cold chain gaps, high freight costs, regulatory bottlenecks. Then on the issue of regional hubs, with the collaborating in logistics, the raw materials, the council must start looking at the issue of logistics and transport integration into the mandate to ensure that when we finish this research, we must also work out the best logistics mode to get this thing to the final destination. Then expected impact in health logistics, at least we should have a 60% lead time and a 40% minimized waste. Then on the energy security and growth, for example, now government is working on Ajakuta Kaduna Kano gas pipeline. That's they call it AKK. I purposely put it in full so that I don't say AKK and people will be wondering Kini AKK. So those are the things. Then the delays, but it's moving on, and the security vulnerabilities. Then the monitoring and security, those are to deploy the supervisory control and data acquisition. This is an IT application because you must monitor all this. And that's the only way we can move on. Then integrated planning, then the PP financing and regional hubs. This document will serve the council well if you look at it properly. And if the AKK pipeline is done, the strategic value is to give about 25% on industrial cost reduction and the carbon emission reduction with that 5% and productivity gain. Then innovation in raw materials logistics, the global lessons. Logistics innovation, two cases, Kenya and Singapore. Kenya is using solar. About 4 years ago, I was talking to one of the governors, the one on board the same flight. He's one of these former governors in the northern part of the country. I said, Your Excellency, you have abundant energy. All your rural areas. I said, I've just installed solar for my mother at Ibadan, a 4-bedroom flat with 320,000. All these rural areas can have solar farm and power it for them. I said, just 4-bedroom, 320. So if you can now do the sensors of all those rural areas, do a solar farm. Next I heard was that they awarded contract of 3 billion for solar. Nothing was done. I won't mention this thing. We have abundance. What we need are solar farms. By now, all our rural areas supposed to be lit, supposed to have light. Then you calculate the residual, which is 25%, because in the villages when they have light, the man will call his son. My son, we have light now. Can I have fridge? This one will call. Can I have freezer? This one will call. Can I have iron? This one will call. I want television. So that residual will take care of it. The day you have stable electricity, you have just started your problem. You need additional 20 kilowatts. South Africa has about 68 kilo, and we are talking about 5 in Nigeria. For possible, we cannot talk about industrialization with that. AI driven to the outcome of the research to move those researches to the correct areas and to the manufacturers and for exports. I've spoken about the solar cold chain, is the same thing, but to calculate the capacity and get it done. Then the deep freeze dryers, these are the ones who put fruits, it extract the water, it make them into powder and it's stored. They're cost effective. The government just needs to fund the council to be able to bring out the best in all this. In Germany, it's what we call the digital twin simulation of warehouse operations. And in India, they're doing more into pharmacology, automated storage and retrieval in respect of this. Then the digital twins in Nigeria, adopting digital twins technology in industrial hubs like Ogun and Kano can optimize raw materials throughput. This allows for precise inventory manager, predictive maintenance of storage infrastructures. These are the things we need, an effective storage system. Please, one button is not working again. IT. The shift button. Thank you. And the digital models for resilience. Areas must be improved upon so that they can play the role that the first line when it comes to industrialization. And the Nigeria versus global best practices, you can see how we have fared poorly, but there's hope with the proper leadership for us to get everything done. And these are the projected strategic impacts. These are the matrices I'm just bringing up now. On the issue of our case study, the Nigeria's raw material supply chains, a deep dive into cement, a case study. Then you look at the value chain stages of the cement production, of extraction, the transport. That transport in Nigeria is supposed to be by rail, not by road. It's supposed to be by rail. Then the processing and distribution. Distribution in Nigeria is by rail. But you can see why the pressure is on the road. So you can see the cement logistics challenges. That's why the cost of cement will not come down. It will not come down because any additional cost will be transferred to the end users in respect of this. On the rail integration, lessons for every industry, I've been talking about this, the rail integration, inland waterways, and PP modernization. That is the solution. As per the Council's mandate on agricultural raw materials, again, a case study of cassava and cotton value chains. Then you look at the cassava and cotton. The cassava is something that is very good for exports. Very good. Then the cotton too. Look at Benin Republic today. In Africa now, they are the lead now that we share border with. The president transformed the country. That the minister for agri was crying the day they received report that they are now the lead. The country, they are doing well. That's why we are not having much. They are not coming again to be our mates. They are not now going to school. The country is growing. So, some of the Mumbai, this agro logistics, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we need rural road rehabilitation, cold chain investment, digital linkages. Those are the key issues that are required. And this is just the matrix scalable solutions across sectors. We must shift the bulk to rail and inland waterways, real-time tracking, low emission incentives, and modernize rail. Rail, we'll be talking about rail. That's the solution to this. And then maybe one of these days, the DG should bring my good friend, the MD of Rail, up there, come and talk to you. I think it's long overdue because link this presentation to the issue of the rail management and how the rail system can improve on the logistics as it affects the raw materials. Let him come and talk. He's a friendly person, very nice man. In conclusion, the missing link in Nigeria's industrialization, what is required is a robust and optimized logistics system. It's no longer a luxury. It is the backbone of manufacturing growth. And by transitioning from a road-dominated model to a digital, multimodal, and sustainable network, Nigeria unlocks its full raw materials potential. They will lead to 30% cost reduction, 40% emission cost, and 25% efficiency gain. On this note, I want to thank all of you for listening. But before I go, I always advise people, I'm an administrator. Please, can you switch off this? We are all, I was a public servant. I put in 40 years in service. Then one day you will retire. Yes or no? I pray you don't die in service. What are your plans? You wake up one day, either 60 or 35. One will be one. Yes or no? What are your plans? What are your plans? It is not when you retire. When you are working now, you can go to bank and borrow. When you are working now, your position can open doors for you. But when you retire, let me tell you, you get to a place, they tell you to fill form. They not tell you, madam, you see that fifth room, go and sit there. When your guy is ready, will call you. You will see Guardian of 1997. You will read it from page 1 to last page. If they do exam for you, you will make A1. You will sleep and wake up. You sleep after 5 hours, they tell you, minister has called, send for him. Leave your number, we'll call you back. But now the door will be open for you. They just said one man from this place is coming. But when you retire, that door cannot be open. So you must plan now for your tomorrow. You woke up today now, said tomorrow I will do this. Tomorrow can never come. You wake up tomorrow, there will be another tomorrow. And again, you cannot reverse yesterday. You must start planning your retirement now. You are in a good organization, raw materials. How do you tap from all the studies, the research you are doing for your tomorrow? Agric is allowed by government. You can have a farm, you can have poultry, you can have cash crop farm, you can do anything. It's allowed. So you can take loan as a public servant now and invest in your farming. When you retire, the friend that will give you money, when he knows you retire, you don't have salary again, they won't give you. You go to bank, they will now look at you that you are over 60, you are retired. They will look at you that maybe you die tomorrow. I've seen cases. But when you are still working, you go and apply for loan and said it's agreed for Agric and Co. With connection they will give you. But when you retire, that's when you want to start farming or you want to start a business, foul. So you are looking good now. Don't retire and look sick without any sickness. Your neck will be 1 foot long. Plan when you are in service now. You need assistance, go and meet DG, Oga, I want to start farming. Set up cooperative. Do you have cooperative there? Take money from cooperative if you are a member. Go and put in something so that when you retire tomorrow, life goes on and life must go on. But if you don't plan, you will regret it. This is one of the things every time, strategic session, seminar, workshop, I tell all the staff, plan for tomorrow. So when they come to disturb me after retirement, I said, I told you to plan. You don't plan. And some will now marry after they have retired. One said, Oga, say, only marry. Maybe. Second wife, no, I want to retire. So it's my off that point is to advise you as it will never come. Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir, for your expose on the all-important role of a structured road network in raw materials development and Nigeria's industrialization. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I'd like to invite questions from both halves of this hall. We'll take 2 questions from the left and 2 questions from the right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to acknowledge members who have joined us online from the RMRDC and the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transportation. Thank you for being with us. Please send in your questions if you're online. We're available to take those questions as well. But for the on-site environment, I'd like to ask for 2 questions from the left, 2 questions from the right, and I can already see the hand of my distinguished Deputy Director, Engineer Basi Etu. Your question, sir.
DG, let me commend you again for this lecture and for the lecturer, Dr. Boboe. I'm very happy that you're still preaching this gospel. Raw Material was one of the agencies that taught your retiring staff how to do piggery, rabbitry, and all sorts of honey keeping and things like that. It's very impressive that you are out of service, but you are still sustaining this because you know what it means to people. Now to my question. It is the case of those people who are by the riverside and soap is entering their eyes. So unless we take a very deliberate step to reverse it,
You are not the one saying that we have this because apparently it got involved from us. It got involved from us, and we are not doing what that is possible. People are requiring
the entrepreneurship and the training and in training happen. Okay. This is a permit me possibly to inform you that the SME and entrepreneurship committee or division has always been in raw materials. They were under the DG office, under TSSU, special duty at one time and this thing. And they moved to department at a time. Sometime in planning, sometime. Okay. Thank you very much, DG. That's okay. It is, yeah, when we bring the problem from outside with a DG that is very active, you will see solutions start coming. It died naturally. And that's how things die here. So yeah, it was not institutionalized. It was a committee thing. I think that is why it was not sustainable. So my lecturer, sir, thank you very much. Your lecture today is a pain to every Nigerian because even just before December, you saw people could not go home because the flight ticket went awry. The fear was on the highway and things like that. I want to ask, where did we get it wrong? We need to know at that point. And I want to ask, haven't gotten it wrong, even today, are we doing the right thing? You have praised us like people who do a very good policy and things like that. But policy that does not sustain and that somersaults and does jumpology, that policy cannot carry us anywhere. So I want to see, is there any way we can remediate this? Because even today, we are building a railway from Abuja to Kaduna, Kano. It is still a single gauge, it is still locomotive, it is still, when people are talking of bullet train. I have this impression that somebody who lives in Kogi State could come to Abuja and work for work and go back in the evening as it happens in China. Somebody who is from Mina can move here in Abuja, finish working and go back, or move from Lafia and come here. Our planning for roads and logistics, did it make any thorough arrangement to see how our road can crisscross cities before you get to the main collection or hub centers? And again, while you were chief in road safety, was there any time you were consulted to possibly come and make input for Nigeria's logistics and roads as they were making the design and the drawing? Because that is where it starts. We say you are doing good planning, but if those plannings can't deliver on this, we cannot go far. The other thing is that considering that the roads are very important for raw materials movement from the rural area and to town, the politicians promise us every time, I will do roads, I will water this thing, I will do bridges. And then when they do those roads, the roads become death traps in 2 years maximum. Are we still getting it right, or we are still in that process? Where did we go wrong, and are we getting it right, or how do we do to get it right? Thank you. Uh,
Hi, DGCEO, sir. My DGCEO, sir. At the beginning of this presentation, you made a remark saying we have a big catch. Indeed, this is a very big catch because the nexus between logistics and transport and raw materials, value chain addition and industrialization cannot be underestimated. We saw the huge impact of logistics during the COVID. I mean, it's with all over the world. We saw how transport affected industries, how farmers were affected to move goods. So we know that, we understand that. But the question remains, how do we move forward? We know the story of port reforms, how to move a container from Apapa to Ogun is much more expensive than bringing that same container from Rotterdam or Singapore or Hong Kong or Guangzhou to this same Tinkan or Apapa port. So these are the challenges we've experienced. A team from RMRDC visited Unilever on an industry visit. Dr. Olive was among those who went to that visit. We stumbled on bales and bales of Lipton tea imported from Kenya. We asked them, how come Nigeria, with the Mambila Plateau tea production, how come we are importing tea from Kenya? They said, well, can you get us tea from Nigeria? We said, well, we are Raw Material Research and Development Council. We have linkage with the industries, with the farmers. We went back, had meetings, series of meetings, promotional meetings at the Mambila Highland, got farmers, produced tea. We even got a competitor, Highland Tea, ready to supply them tea. At the end, they worked out the logistics, they said no. Well, for us not to disappoint those farmers, we got another tea producer, a local tea producer. Sir, to cut a long story short, it took 2 weeks for one truck of tea from Mambila to go to Lagos. From that consignment, that deal stopped. These are the challenges of raw material supply to industries. So transportation, as you pointed out, constitute 40% in these things. How do we move forward? RMRDC is a member of the National NTFC. I'm sorry, NTFC. Who remembers NTFC? Okay. It's a government agency or committee that has all Ministry of Transport, Road Safety, all those agencies in Ministry of Transport, including Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Trade, that meets all the time and discuss these issues. So the challenges have always been there. The problems still remain. How do we move forward? We have understood your paper. The DG has charged us to look inward to bring back this trade facilitation division that has worked out. We have identified transport models in Nigeria, like Potiskum, like all the major transportation hubs in Nigeria, where logistics can be effective. We mapped it. wanted to do a linkage that, okay, if I'm taking a raw material from Gusau and if I'm taking the same raw material from Potiskum, which logistic company should I use? How does that logistic affect the cost of that raw materials? We've done that study, we've started it, but we did not conclude it. So there are so many challenges. This thing is a major problem, but we've recognized that for us to move forward, we need to address this. To address industrialization in Nigeria, you must address the issue of logistics. Thank you, our guest speaker.
The DG and our guest speakers. I think the lecture is well understood and people are asking questions. I have one suggestion, even in as much as we want to move forward. One of the solutions, or one of the way forward is the establishment of national transport management system. So if you automate Nigerian transport system, we will know those are loopholes. That's my own suggestion. Thank you.
The DG and our distinguished lecturer. I would say it's a very good presentation, but there's one area, sir. You mentioned that you are carrying out a research state by state on the multimedia transportation. And I know that supply chain is one area that not so many people have actually gone into. And in the area of raw material, it's very, very key and important to us. So I think that data, I don't know how far you've gone. I would also want to add that it would be good as I guess, since it's state by state, the local government and all the communities are also put into consideration because that data will be very important to raw materials. It will also help us because raw materials, one of our mandates is that we develop policy statements, policy documents that we normally send to government. I think that would be of great interest for us to have access, or probably since I don't know if you finished how far you've gone, for us to work in that area because that data will be very important. And because another thing that our DG is driving is, currently we have a lot of data and we are also adding more. So when people look for information or data in any area, they should be able to access us and get that. So I think it's a very important area. I don't know how far you've gone, sir, and we'll be interested so that because that information will help a lot in taking decision, and more especially the critical raw materials in this country. It will help us so that in any policy documents or whatever that we're doing, it will help us to advise government, also work towards that area so that those critical raw materials will be able to get to. For example, lithium. I think one of the occasions we went to Nasarawa, we heard people were fighting, and these foreigners, they will cause confusion so that while you people are fighting, they are doing what they are doing. So if with that data, if we get it, it will help us in planning so that the transport system, the supply chain, will be able to probably advise or find solution on how to address it, sir. Thank you very much.
There are so many comments I have on this paper. But I'm going to start from the very cosmetic to deeper one. If I look at your presentation first and foremost, and look at how you're dressed, you can see there is very serious alignment. The presentation, the PowerPoint presentation is fantastic. It aligns with you and tells a lot about your personality. And John, please, after this, liaise with the guys doing our website. All the PowerPoint presentations that have been done from the start have to be uploaded today. I know they're doing papers, so people can have access to them. Please, take it. Well, I have the reason I'm saying it is so that we don't tell stories. I know the reason. Okay, so having said that, okay, let me also, on another lighter note, he said the prof that because of the salary of professors. No, don't, those who do to teach, they don't teach because of the money, to be honest. Paper contains about 6 papers. If I take this paper, I can break it into 6 different papers. So there are a whole lot chunked into this. So people like you shouldn't be talking about teaching for money. You should think about teaching to build new armies of people who think the way you think. I'm being honest. We part of why we have this is because when I came here, I noticed that there's a serious capacity crisis. And even as you look at around here, a lot of people here are compelled to come here or pushed by the distance to come here. So that innate desire hasn't kicked in. You know, when people feel, oh, we need to go learn and understand, rather than somebody is pushing you to go understand. You mentioned about people building the capacities to survive after retirement. You hardly see it here. I've met most of the 90% of directors that retired since I came, and deputy directors. I always ask them, what are you going to do when you retire? I'm a businessman. I have a farm. I have about 14,000 hectares. I farm and I do all sorts of things. So when I see people, I say, what are you going to do when you retire? And some people tell you, when they begin to tell you some stories, because you're coming from an entrepreneurial position, you already know that this one doesn't have any plan. And even when you try to explain, because of ego, you just tell you already I worked it out, I know when I get out, when I do this, and then the next minute they're coming, they're prowling, wanting you to do the other, to still go into your distance and use money you used to pay for your staff, correct? To start servicing that's retired. So for the kind of knowledge you have, you need to be engaged, not because of money, but to help. You mentioned that Indians messed up our rail transport. I would like you to talk about that. That bit of information, I don't understand it. It's very interesting. This is off the microphone though, but you can see quickly the microphone. I don't like Indians in Nigeria. I've not done the estimation, but I think it's a gross underestimation. I don't know how you arrived at that, but I think it's a heavy gross underestimation. Unless you're saying maybe as is, but potentially, to be honest, is far in excess. Even as is it should be more than this. It is deficient and more. Thank you, sir. Rail corridor optimization should also be a strategic goal for agriculture. You focus on the solid mineral, but I think that rail corridor optimization is also because we're championing. Part of why this first set of lecture series is focused on supply chain is because it appears we are not trying to see supply chain as part of what whereas it is actually like very, very primary. Now, this is my major question. This is not professorial. This is like a junior brother to a senior brother question. And very sincerely, we don't work in the Ministry of Transport, even though the minister is my very good friend. But even my minister, I'm sure there's very little he can do, even as a minister. We give him what we have. We have the rail corporation. We have the waterways, like you mentioned. We have all of these, and then whole number. If you are the DG of this place, you have been in this kind of position long before myself. You have the experience. You have everything. What are those two? Like after this class, and then tomorrow I wake up. What are two important things that I should start doing? This one is the most important though, that I've told you. So you can take it for the last. But so media team, while he was saying something, he mentioned something, and I think you guys do look for it and play it back. He said government just needs to improve our funding to the council. Go and look for it and bring it back and play it their radio, and then in the 360. So Dr. Ugonna talked about your research and what you're doing with multimodal system at subnational levels. Like she said correctly, we're always interested in such information. But I think that if you don't mind, we can get involved. We can also get the Nigerian Governors Forum involved in an aspect. It doesn't take away your lead of the paper. But I'll be interested in looking at the multimodal system at the subnational level to be able to align it with the study we've done here on raw materials at local government level. So we can track for each raw material deposit or concentration in any area, what kind of multimodal systems, what are the requirements, so we can deepen that study. It might not take and help us with again with data that we can use in what we're doing. Thank you, sir.
The DG and the management team of RMRDC. Thanks for this opportunity, Kosi, Professor John. Where did we get it wrong? I said it when I was at the National Institute. I posited all the time. That's to do with policies of assault. There's lack of continuity in governance in Nigeria, and I stand by that. I'm an authority on this. The facts are there. Let me give you an example. When President Obasanjo became president of Nigeria, he set up a panel to look at all the abandoned projects. That was 1999, and the cost. The committee came back with about 3,000 abandoned projects. When Naira said value then, that will require about 11 trillion. 1999. Can you imagine the exchange rate then? 3,000 was the only president who has ever set up a panel to look at abandoned projects. Where am I heading for? Lack of continuity. Policy somersault. That's why I gave the example of US, UK. There's continuity in their policies. You can come in and further strengthen it, but they don't discard policies. That's why they're making progress. They have development plans. It's lack of continuity in Nigeria. We are wrong. I always also tell government, when I was at Kuru, When we went to meet the president, then we told him from Sec 1 to my Sec then 33, from 1999 to today, a lot of research has been done. Every year, report submitted to the government is received with form and co. No implementation. It's a problem. The government must shift its position. Defense College, Army War College, National Institute, NISS, everyone returning the presidential report. Nothing is implemented. A new topic will be given to the next course. They will go around the world. I was in US, I was in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Let me give you an example of Cameroon. They were well received by the government, were hosted, both Douala and Yaoundé. When we met the Minister of Interior, he said, "Welcome, Nigeria, you are good people." He started saying, "We have a population of 20 million. 4 million of this population were Nigerians, registered." Prof, you know what that means? Registered. And that the Nigerians dominated their commerce in this economy. And he said, if Nigeria decides to go on strike or close shop today, this country will collapse. This is Interior Minister 2011. Interior Minister. And that is on informal trade. That was when we proceeded to government then that there must be a measuring indices for all these informal trades. Nigeria Benin, Nigeria Niamey. That the informal trade, those ships, those boats, they leave Nigeria in the evening, they arrive the following morning, they load again, they come back. That the informal is what is sustaining the economy. Their rail system is working that the rail will leave 6 p.m. to the far north, come back the following day. I was close to tears. I remember what I read during the burial of our Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. It has to do with the policy of governance, lack of continuity. With due respect, cast your mind back from Obasanjo to President Yar'Adua of blessed memory, to President Jonathan, to Buhari. Has there been policy sustainability? These are problems. Everybody comes with his own projects. One case in Ondo State, one Agagu was building a comprehensive health center in Atokilupa. When Mimiko got there, the same area, he laid another foundation for the same kind of thing. When you travel now, you see a lot of abandoned projects. Nobody is taking stock. It's lack of continuity. And money is being wasted. Now, states are sharing 2 trillion. When the President Buhari of blessed memory was there, they were sharing 300 to 400. They were complaining there's no money, but now 2 trillion. What have we got to show? How many of them are working? Most of them are in Abuja every time. That's why Naira will continue to remain unstabilized. And once FAC meets a week after, Naira will go up. That is the problem. No continuity. On the day Nigeria wakes up and have a sustained continuity in the programs and policies, we make progress. And my prayer is that let it be our lifetime. That is the major, my DG, the management gentlemen of RMRDC, this is the major problem. Lack of continuity of policies and programs. I became commercial in 2014. I took over from Chief Osita. I practice what I preach. Coincidentally, I was the back-end person that he held firmly. Because they told him, don't let that guy go. I was guiding him. And when I took over, I sustained everything. And I improved. And I had it. That is why we could record what we recorded. That's why I can talk like this until it becomes DG in a place and say, what are your programs? And looks at it, you sustain it, you had more. Your own vision, you had what is going on, you drive them, you finish. Everybody will leave one day. I put in 40 years in government and I left. I had to go, whether I like it or not. But voluntarily, I never asked for extension in my life. I said, I'm going. You live when innovation is loudest. And I left. No. Once you live peacefully, you'll be at peace. But when you live riotously, you will not have peace. The shadow will continue to haunt you So how the issue is that maybe when I go to deliver lecture again at Kuru and at some high level fora, I will continue to say the government must have a repart in policy continuity. That's the only way we can grow. And Prof, we cannot run away from road. For your work, multimodal transportation system is the key. I don't know Dr. John who told him to go and look for me and got me arrested. It was because maybe there was a way he was just trying me and he got me. The way he did, I couldn't say no. Oh, oh. So because the issue is that when you're talking about raw materials, you must talk about multimodal. And it's good that you introduce this twice in a month lecture series. It will outlive you and they will remember you for that. Because you are impacting in one way or the other on them. There's no way anybody here wouldn't have picked one idea today. Go and Google multimodal transport. You will read a lot. You will see there must be interconnectivity. And you cannot transport materials if you don't have effective, efficient, coordinated multimodal transportation system. There are some areas, even helicopter, we need because depending on the location, when you are doing research, you discover some material, helicopter, those big will be used. There are some things that you now use, even can use camels or donkeys, because across, thank you. You must look, because when you get those things, you now sit down, how do we ensure movement of things? That lies with you. It's a whole document you must now prepare. The materials and multimodal transportation system for effectiveness and efficiency. So that means as you are doing your research, identifying those materials, how do we move this? Those are the things. You are doing well. As I said, my friends, and like he said, you taught a lot of staff in road safety. Post-retirement, piggery, farming, poultry, you impacted. And I will go and talk to the curriculum staff to come back and meet you so that they can come back. Because I started farming before I retired, 5 years before I retired. Since I read that it's allowed, I started. I'm a farmer today, and I'm a consultant. I don't run around to anybody. They look for me. So that is it. And that means your management must be trained to plan for tomorrow, be self-sufficient. Like you said, that charity must start from here. So if you are impacting those things outside and it's working, you want that same thing to be repeated. It should not be for only those retiring. Since farming is allowed, agric is allowed, everybody must participate. Then you can commercialize it. You can meet head of service and say this is part of your work you want to impact. Let them pay small fee for the logistics you will need. Everything you want to do, you need logistics. Nothing is free even in Freetown. Yes, the cost of training, who bears the cost? You know, Father, I know Father Christmas, but there must be a way to convey the message. And Madam Jack is a very nice woman. They will look, there's votes on training. Be part of the civil side, they will not forget. Some will pick it, some will not pick it. Those who don't pick it are those who retire and be grumbling, but those who pick it will be smiling when they retire. But now, indoctrinate your own staff to prepare for tomorrow. That's why I said, give me 5-10 minutes to talk. And I make sure anywhere I go, I talk to them. They like it, they may not like it, but I've done my own gospel. So policy continuity is the key issue. Why do we move forward? When I was at the National Institute, I was at this Mandela, this island. That place can provide tea for the whole Nigeria and West Africa. Natural. They engage all the villagers to do the farming and supply, they are paying them. There was no crisis between the villagers and the company. I went back to Governor Dixon then to talk to him because I was close with him. It's a partnership between, when it used to be the Gongola. So when they now created state, it became Taraba and Adamawa. So it's jointly owned. I said 2 options. Put 2 things on the table. Either you pay them off or you strengthen the joint ownership so that this place can run. Politics. That place, the quality of island tea, Prof, is better than Lipton. I can tell you this. Honestly, the villagers were engaged, they are self-sufficient, they are comfortable. I was there live. We stayed in Mambila Plateau for 1 week. Come and see everywhere green. Unfortunately, the drinks, the TV, the radio is from Cameroon. Don't take station, nothing there. There's airstrip, but it's all our big men that owns land there. They just put all those friends there. They're not participating in it. And Mambila, to drive from the base to the place is an expert driver that can do it. But that place, if it has been annexed, we are not supposed to be poor. We are not supposed to be poor in this country. I'm sure by the time you see something to be close to tears, when you see some material that can change this country on a more serious note. And some, maybe with your own intellectual level, by the time you finish, you may be looking for partners to develop some things you have learned, some materials here for tomorrow and for the Thank you. You're right. No, you're right. Because Smida can provide those small scale loans. Even if you approach them, then the bank of agree that you are a staff who can want to farm, they will give you because they know there's collateral. Your pension is there, you sign the documents and they give you. But some people collect such loans, they go and marry, or they go and be doing patio one bed. Yes, now I know what I'm saying. They won't use that money for the purpose. So, but you're on track. Don't be deterred. And revive this training. Thank you. But I will tell you, yes. Then on the National Transport Management System, it's embedded in the transport policy. It took years, 33 years to have that document out. I was involved since 1992. But then I must commend the current Minister of Transport and Dr. Ajani was the PAMSEC there. So at least he's no longer the PAMSEC, but this minister made it possible after 33 years last year to be out. But it's a shame it took us 3 years to have the policy document. But it's not correct. But at least it has addressed some of these things. Supply chain and raw materials we've spoken about. What the society is working on, I will up it and get back to you by next month. Because I've also guided you on something like that. What I'm doing is not meant for this year alone. It's a document that can be useful for you and other agencies who are like-minded, who are focused. Not all are focused, who are focused, and it will help because you raise an issue now. You want to see, for example, let's pick Kebbi State. Kebbi have airports and roads. They have River Niger, not July. That means they have 3 borders. That means they can use boats. And if you observe Kebbi, Niger, they have the and Benue and Kogi, they have the highest crashes of boats capsizing. So that means we need to improve. One, NIWA needs to improve on their regulatory services. Why must you allow them to travel at night overloaded and they're using torchlight and there's no map to guide them? You see, I'm coming up that I just took over November 28th. I will rack then. I put in 40. I'm not begging anybody for appointment. If you appoint me, fine, but I'm not going to lobby anybody. I'm not a politician. But lives, I see the way lives are lost. They just report it, and that's the end. What is they were doing? Somebody must wake up. That's the function of this advisory. I say, government, look into this. Look into this. People are dying. They will travel, they will say it's overloaded. They will leave at 12 midnight with torchlights. No map, nothing. Rickety boats, overloaded. They are going for wedding, they are going for this. They themselves going for burial, then they will die. Because they are going at night, they are sleeping. When it capsizes, they are sleeping. They get drowned. That's why the fatality is high. No safety here. So we need to wake up as a nation. It can be painful, but we are privileged to still make a difference in respect of this. So the policy must on this now, you are looking at your critical, then raw materials, then your website must be efficient, then you are working. But I'm just advising you must improve on your outreach on your website and to the public. Grant more interviews, let people know what you are doing. Then I'm happy you do outreach to industry. Then when you do some of those materials, you know this industry can need it. Don't be a protocol person, call them, find 1 or 2 that you can afford, you go there. You talk to them, have partnership. That's it. On this. Then on the issue of rail, government concession rail to one of these Indian companies. What were they doing? They were removing all those flags and they were shipping them out until they reported them to government. At that time, it was Dasuki of Blessed Memory who became Sultan. That was the chairman of NRC. I read a lot. And that's how they terminated them. Don't forget the same thing now. They brought Indians against Ajakuta. Nigerians, the union protested to government. Overnight, they sacked them and asked them to pack. They were removing all those vital steel materials, shipping them out. You've said it. They will not, Indians will not allow you to grow because when you grow, you overtake them. Nigeria, let me tell you today, Nigeria has so much potential. If you can get the right leadership, this country is supposed to be great for life. But the problem has to do with our governance system. We need to improve on our governance system and continuity in policy formulation. The documents are there on these things I'm talking about. The documents are there. That's why it's difficult for them for government to look at them. Two things to start doing, I've been mentioning. I think you have a cooperative management team. You have started well. I'm happy meeting you. You have started well. One, sustain this engagement. You are planning their future for them. One day, one of them too will stand like that in another place and remember you, like I was talking today. Please sustain it. Don't be tired. But all those presenters, like I said, should be on platform, or not only on the platform. Management should look into it and bring out issues for implementation. Because the essence of discourse like this is to look at relevant things to the council and how you can move forward. One, you must engage. One, you have done well in research. Then two, you must expand your scope on how you can implement the multimodal transportation system. How you can guide. You can't do it alone, it's a team. You are saying you have this, then you must work out how those things can get to the destination. A lot of work. You must engage the stakeholders. You must identify your stakeholders. Works, minister, transport. You must engage them. Once you engage works, transport, then there's some relevance with them. Yeah, then the marine and blue economy. You must engage them. And your ambassador, reduce the level of protocol. Let them buy in into what you are doing. Zero protocol. So I can come and drink coffee anytime. No problem. So that means you move on. That's one. Then number two, Nigerians, if I had not been here now, I would not know the level you have gone. Let people know what you are doing. That's one of the things I did. I left the radio station at FRSC. No, yeah, of course. Get some retired broadcasters. Programming. The contents must be attractive to get listenership. And in the process, you must have some programs where you'll be talking about the research you have done, what can be useful, even this farming, this training of big grandpa, you can start doing some guiding people. You will see when make it phone in, let your experts be talking. You will see your listenership will increase. You give them the hotline, then they can come. Maybe you have an information desk downstairs. You are changing the face of the council already. Just remain on the track you are going. Those are the two things. Then maybe we'll be talking. I'll come and sit with you, continue our great time. Myself and General is my close person. So we come around, we offer help. So, but I assure you you have opened my eyes to some of these things. And you see, that thing we are doing before, you can go and make present, you can send your team to some of the MTAs. Even with general, they can arrange to the military. Those who are at the training center in Lagos. In Lagos, that's another massacre place. Every year you eh? Excellent. Yeah. Prof, you're welcome.
Next time, because I reached out to the defense farm. But I also reached out to the defense farm. I asked them for 1,000 hectares. Just kill it.
This is what I'm saying.
Reach out to the defense farm.
action plans. One, we're going to have two things actually. Cholera, I'm handing this over to you. I've given you a number of assignments. You haven't told me anything, but you have to add this one to it. Identifying the stakeholder groups and then working out um, appointments with the heads of those agencies. We just need to action it. If we can finish that before the end of March for all stakeholder groups, let's take advantage of this. Let's even start discussing it. Number two is the supply chain and logistics and supply chain, raw material logistics and supply chain mapping. Let us discuss it with the Nigerian Governors Forum and see if we can have funding for it. Funding for it, please. So, sir, I have to thank you, and I won't thank you enough. I cannot thank you enough. It's always good to John. Can we make this like a threshold so that we don't bring people lower than this rank? Please, so that we can look for experts that will benefit from your experience, their everything. So it's not only this. Once in a while, you can also bring all of your girlfriends. So that yes. So you get. I've already passed the message. They know. He knows that that's something he wants to do. I actually told him that he has to be in the next 2 weeks, but I doubt if it's going to be possible. No, don't worry. He will. Then he knows what I've already told him. When you said it, I told him immediately that he has to be. So he knows. He knows. So Ugonna, as a PMS, how many lecture series do we have before the promotion before April 14? Because promotion starts April 14. How many how many do we have before April 14? How many do we have before April 14? 5. Eh? Okay. 4 up. Those who are not here have to participate by Zoom and recorded. So you also have to get your team to monitor participation across states. We have to deepen these things. We have to be very deliberate about this, please. So include it. I'm removing that your APA. I can't work with the APA. Oh. Those who are writing APA should know that I won't do APA. And the government has scrapped it. So it's PMS. But in addition to that PMS, we'll have to find a way of putting this lecture series as part of it. Thank you.
Dr. Oyeyemi, sir, one of our online participants just sent in a question. His name is Matthew Onuche Emmanuel, and he would like to know what steps to trace and follow the standards on road transportation, as well as how the federal government can actively participate in road transport improvements in Nigeria, sir.
On the issue of road transportation, is a 3-tier system of governance: federal, state, and road. And look at 3 tiers: federal, state, and local governments. We have 774 local governments at 6 states and FCT, and federal. The total, which I mentioned, was 204,000 kilometers of road network. So they say everybody's complaining of federal. The states are not doing much. And there's a new mentality now. The state government building flyovers. And if you know the amount they're spending, then the local governments, there's all these rural roads. Some are supposed to be feeder on that, but supposed to be paid to provide drainage so that during the rainy season it doesn't wash off. But see, there must be commitment in governance and leadership. Leadership is service. It's not a title. That's why I said I can't go into it, because the opposition will be too much when you want to do the right thing for the people. The mentality at the state now constructing flyovers, and some of them will be abandoned at the end of the day. So when we need, sir, yes, yes. So look at the one in Niger State now. It's abandoned unless they have resumed work. They resume now. Okay, better. And the cost of those flyovers is enormous. It is enormous because it's pure concrete. And you must do the tensile strength, the structural something. It's a lot of things. So it's this responsibility. So we don't need a new policy. It's the result of the 3 tiers of governance to provide road networks, which is part of their campaigns at all levels. So let them fulfill that commitment. Let them improve the road network. If the road is good and you can travel, before we used to travel from Abuja here to Lagos, it's 6.5 hours. You enjoy it, but because of the bad road, you spend now to Lagos is 12 hours. I pity the transporters. I don't know how they make profits. Now, AutoStar from here to Abakaliki is 80,000. Down to Lagos, you want to send a small parcel now, it's a lot of money. So, because of the cost, maintenance of the vehicle, the problems associated, they load everything. That's why everything I was saying, I said they load it to them. So, that's what we can do unless the citizens compel the government to really do what is expected of them, which is one of the primary responsibilities, provide good road network. Once that is done, governance will be made much easier. I stop on that. The 2 EUs have sent a message to you.
Thank you very much, sir. On this note, I want to invite Professor John Uke for a few words.
Thank you very much, my DG. Thank you for that actionable point, because I think what is just going through my mind is raw material for the first time is going to have raw material logistics and transport research desk to also strengthen the so no yeah so uh, yeah, so the mapping, so and to add to what the DG has said, but then interestingly, I'm looking at the areas of the collaboration between raw material and the Federal Road Safety Corps and the institute, on which our esteemed guest presenter, no other, I call him His Excellency, just like somebody is like talking him into politics, because he has been able to distinguish himself, no other person than his esteemed Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi, MNI, MFR, OFR, MPOM, and many others. Please, once again, can we give me a round of applause? It's been a protracted one, and at this point, I have the honors and responsibility to invite our very esteemed the Director of the Directorate of Corporate Affairs for a very short closing remark. Please welcome the Director. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my Director General, Dr. Boboye Oyeyemi, and Major General Ibikunle. It's been an amazing time listening to you. When we were coming up the stairs with you, I came with Professor John to receive you. You were cracking jokes with us and saying that you don't know what it was that he used, if it is mountain or anointing oil or something. I'd like to say that whatever he used worked, and I want it to work some more. Yes, whatever it was he used, it worked, because I totally enjoyed the lecture. And from the engagements from everyone here, seated here, including our Director General, that's enough to tell you it was a fantastic lecture. And please, I'd like everyone put your hands together for him. So, sir, there was something that you said when you were speaking. You said that you would like for the federal government to fund the council some more. Sir, I implore you that everywhere you go, please keep saying that. Don't stop saying it. Everywhere you go, keep saying it. Don't stop talking it. Because it is only in funding the council some more, and very well, that we'll be able to do all of this and much more. My DJ has a lot in his head. His dreams and his aspirations are a lot. And he shared some of them with you. And that he has fantastic frontline officers. A lot of us here have a lot that we can give. But the problem is funding. So, sir, everywhere you go, please keep the flag of fund RMLDC some more. Keep saying it, sir. Thank you, sir. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone seated here. Thank you for taking our time to come here, even though I know that it is for our own benefit. And I know that the more we attend these lectures, the more we learn, the better we get. So God bless RMLDC. God bless Nigeria. God bless everyone seated here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the Director of the DCA, for the vote of thanks you've given. Shall we rise as we take the pledge in honor of our country to close this edition of the RMRDC lecture series? Just before we leave, I'd like to say we're going to have a group photograph with the distinguished DG CEO, our honorable guest speaker, and of course, Major General Ibikunle and other distinguished members here right outside. And subsequent to that, we'd like to have a short interview with our guest lecturer in the RMRDC radio studio. The pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. See you in the next edition of the RMRDC series. Thank you, everyone from the DCA.